not that deep.
Where we at? Episode 13.
Yeah, 13. We should have done this in Australia or something.
It's actually unlucky again.
Why?
Oh, it's episode
Don't
13,
be.
you know? Something could go terribly wrong.
Stop thinking that way, then. Because
You're
when you think that, it happens. I'm not thinking of it that way. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not going to jinx it. This is going to be the best episode yet.
you know what I mean? We're still going to go 1,000 episodes in. He'll be 1,013. You'll be like, oh shit, unlucky.
So,
Well, we're good.
how you doing, Martin? How's life treating you?
I'm back at work now, so
You've got a routine again.
yeah. I mean,
How do you find that?
Boring, to be honest. I wanted it to be this sort of stage of the year, so like halfway through the year, I wanted to be moved out and into new leases of my life, I guess.
Into the Big Apple. That is
Yeah.
less. It'll come.
But,
this has not been.
I mean, yeah, it will come. I'm just saying, like, this is just stopped it a little bit. So it's sort of like makes it seem like, is it a good idea? Maybe it wasn't a good idea at the time that I wanted to do it compared to.
Yeah, maybe it'll make more sense as in the future.
Maybe.
Things happen at the time they're meant to happen, Martin. You know.
That's right. Yeah.
All I can tell you is that it's really hot. That's how I feel right now.
I don't feel hot at all. I don't know what is wrong with you.
Normally, me and you are driving around in the car with the heaters on full, and I'm with it.
I know. But like, do you?
Not right now.
Did you take a cold shower? Or,
no, I'll probably do that after this. To be fair.
To be honest, I'm like, I don't really. I've never taken a cold shower properly.
I've jumped in. Have you ever jumped in
before?
Known as a plunge pool?
No, I literally on the way home, my mate was talking about it, where he's been in a sauna for like an hour, and then as soon as he gets out, he jumps in a plunge pool, and I'm like, what is that?
I've never done it straight out of sauna, but I've been. Do you know what Centre Parks is?
Yeah.
I've been at Centre Parks, and you can like hop out the pool and jump in the plunge pool if you.
What is a plunge pool?
It's just a pool full of ice cold water. It's as simple as it sounds.
Jesus.
It's really good.
Oh, take the wheel. That would never happen.
Cold showers are really good for you.
I don't take cold showers either. I'm like, even if it's 30 degrees, I still take warm showers all the time.
People that take cold showers for health benefits would tell me that I'm doing it wrong, but I do like to be in the shower and have it hot, and then slowly get colder and colder. Yeah, that's a lot easier to do. People that just dive into cold water like that, it takes bollocks. It can knock you out.
Yeah.
It can knock you out, the shock of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely knock me out. Oh, 100%. The shock of
ice, like if you cut out a sheet of ice and jump into the water, it's going to be very difficult to keep your breath controlled and whatnot.
Oh, that would be my worst nightmare.
But that's why they say it's good for you, because if you can withstand that, then you can kind of be calm in many a situation.
Might try then. See what happens.
If it comes around, Martin, just give it a go.
I mean, I feel like that's something we could easily do.
What, film you going in a plunge pool? If you want me to start setting you challenges, Martin, and we film them, I'll happily do that.
Oh yeah, do it. I'll happily do the challenge.
You heard it here first, folks. The spin-off joke.
That's right.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep, bro. And then we just switch to a pool. That's not that deep.
It is that deep, bro. It is.
It's that deep.
Well, there you go. That's an idea.
Amazing.
That's an idea.
Let's
carry on with the current podcast that we run.
Right.
This week, I've made you watch a slightly left of field. Well, it's not left of field, and that's why it's left of field for this podcast. In the sense that it's not the normal kind of film that we may watch. it's not a film that would fall under the weird or kind of mind.
No, it's not.
The description of this show says we cover, but there is a reason I've made you watch this film. But what did I make you watch, Martin?
You made me watch Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights. 1995, wasn't it?
You've not done your research. 1997. Directed by Paul.
No, I have done my research because that's where I saw it on Google. It said 95 to me.
Looking at it, mate. I'm looking at the information right now.
That's fine, but I literally looked at Google and it said the bit that comes up.
It was probably shot in 1995, to be fair.
So it's probably what came up. Because I'm like...
was released... It premiered
in 97.
at the Toronto Film Festival on September 11th, 97, and then was released in October of the following year, of that same year. And for those of you who don't know, it's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who is known for such films as The Master, The Phantom Thread, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love. Well, I've not even mentioned There Will Be Blood is the big one that he directed that everyone knows. Inherent Vice too. Got a lot of films.
He does.
I like Paul Thomas Anderson. I think he's very good. Detailed filmmaker. It's very in-depth filmmaking. Lots of the small details are thought about.
You think so? I mean, there were some scenes that I'm like, well, there was some bits that I sort of like, well, what happened? What happened then? What happened afterwards? Nothing really gets explained after that scene happens.
Up to you and your understanding of the 1970s. But I like a film that makes you kind of go follow. Yeah, when a film does that, I think it's giving you an opportunity to use your imagination. You know. I didn't mean it in sort of them okay, using your imagination to the scenes that I'm sort of thinking about. What happens in the scene explains what happens. I mean, it's not explained where that leads off to. It's. Oh, this will be interesting to see which scenes that you have qualms with, because I have recently just finished the film and I'm sticking with my initial impression of it. That let's just run through the people that don't have a clue what this film is. We're not going to go through the whole plot because it's a very plot important film, and it's nearly 3 hours long as well, so it's quite the journey. But it follows I can't even remember Mark Wahlberg's character's name before. Eddie Adams, played by Mark Wahlberg, who was a pot washer at a disco in the 1970s. And he is known for being particularly well endowed in the trouser department downstairs. It's just his girl tells him this, and it gives him a cocksure attitude. He comes from a fairly stable family, the classic dad that kind of grew up in the 50s, and they have that kind of all-American family attitude. The dad reads the newspaper and the mum does the cooking, and it's all happy families. But Dirk, well, shouldn't even call him that at this point. Eddie has bigger ideas, and he gets poached by the man who owns this, well, a friend of the person who owns the roller disco, to do pornography, amateur pornography, because of his reputation that he has garnered. And it basically chronicles Eddie's rise through the golden age of porn in the 1970s, and he chooses a name for himself that he kind of has always had in his head. Dirk Diggler. Dirk Diggler. And the film shows you the rise, fall, and subsequent rebirth of Dirk Diggler, and kind of what was going on in the 1970s. I mean, it's not really... It's a pretty good portrait of what was going on in the 1970s outside of the porn industry. That's why I kind of like this film a lot, because on paper it's not a very accessible topic, but the result of it is a film that is like a window into the 1970s. It's very you feel like you're there with all those people. You could get the vibe of how the 70s felt and how people's attitudes were and what was going on politically and whatnot. But it's a real journey of the film. you go from this tiny little house, small hometown beginnings, and by the end of the film, it's like a classic hero's arc and tale sort of thing. It could be like a Greek myth by the time you get to the end of it, sort of thing. It's that like.
It wasn't. As I first watched it.
Yeah. So what did you make of it, Martin? From
the
first time viewer, no background info.
Just sort of like seemed, compared to the other films that we watched, seemed way more. What?
I give you to another one.
Wait, I'm sorry?
Never judge any of the films I give you. Never compare them with one another.
No, but I wasn't comparing them in a sense of like they were like they all need to be a certain type of weirdness, but like because of the podcast we've been doing, every film before then has had a sort of impact in how I see different situations in life. This one just seemed too normal for me to be like, well, yeah, that's something I go through every day. No, it's not. Compared to like when we watched, although it wasn't like my favorite film, when we watched Eraserhead, you sort of explained to me how the character is sort of dealing through emotional
the process of being a young man and all these.
That's right, and having a child and yeah. So like you can sort of see that in everyday life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean, and I guess what I get in that sense from this film is the way that business is conducted and the way that people are, because business makes you like an exaggerated version of yourself. Like you have to lie, but then you also have to like put a mask on and be someone you're not. So it's very complicated. I find it quite fascinating watching, because in the end, people's true intentions always come to the surface. Either if it's not how they say things, it shows in their
how they act.
Yeah, how they act. In this film, there's a lot of moments where people are like, talking to one another and they're chatting shit. This film's a big like cocaine film. Like there's a lot of cocaine.
Massive, yeah.
And really, I think it's the film that scared me from ever doing cocaine. I watched this film and I was like, there's not one moment in that where cocaine looks good.
Oh, not at all. Like just people dying left, right, and center. You're like.
There's a scene at the beginning where there's a girl that's like having an overdose from it. That scared the crap out of me when I first saw it. And she's like seizuring on the floor because he's got, and that colonel guy's in the room, and the guy's like, oh, this is the second time this week a girl's OD'd on me. And the guy's like, you think you better get some better stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. No, as soon as they see him like twitching, they're just like, oh yeah, just take her out, grab her. I'm like, this is
the way they deal with it.
This is how they deal with shit in the 70s. But like, what the fuck?
He ends up being like a paedophile at the end of the film.
Because he does like lean towards it when you first see him.
Yeah, you know, when loads of seedy overtones.
Yeah, like, you know when every time in the film a new character was being introduced, it was they were over introduced. Like the camera went straight to their face.
It's all very stylized, and it's like that's Dirk Diggler.
That's it. Yeah. So when you first see that, and you first see the colonel, and he brings out that girl, it's like, oh yeah, she's young but old enough, and you're like, what the? Yeah. This guy, 100% this guy was gonna be a pedo. You could see it in his movements, in his fucking,
and he's
the way he talked.
He's like the most important guy. He's the one like with
I
all the
know
money.
all the money.
It's great.
It's a good sound.
Is that the ice cream?
I'll be back. No, my ringtone.
For what phone? A Nokia.
No, my doorbell. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say that's crazy.
I guess. Thanks for wonder.
Thank you. What do you say? Sorry, I can't.
audience entertained.
I see. Sorry, I got a package and.
Exciting times in the Diverge.
I know. That was my doorbell, not a fucking Nokia. What are you talking about?
Well, it's just a crazy doorbell.
I know. It's got a camera. It's so fucking high tech shit.
2020, man.
2020, bro.
But yeah, that's how this film affects me on my day-to-day life. It's like because then you've got Jack compared with the Colonel, who, he's like running porn, and porn's like what it is, and we all know what porn is, and like.
That's right, yeah.
But his heart's like in it. Jack cares about the quality of the porn. And if you're gonna do something, you should do it properly. And that's why it feels so good at the end of the film when he finally goes back to Jack after all that. Like, there's that awful scene where he's like, I don't need any of you, Dirks. Like, above the station, basically.
Yeah, this is where like it got to me, because he was like, sort of at the start, you see him so sort of like, is that okay? Is it okay for her?
So humble, and he's like
so humble. Yeah, and then as soon as he's got 2 Grammys or whatever they give for porn, they're like, he's like, all the awards, and he's like, you need me.
Even the the film, the series they come up with after he first gets successful, where they're like, it needs to be this James Bond character, and he's not like the other guys in porn, and so, it's why I love the film. It could be about anything. It doesn't really matter that it's porn. It's the fact that they're really into it and they're pushing what that thing was at the time, and they're trying to like make it into something better. And
Jack's so like, I fucking love it. I love it. Sounds great. Because obviously Jack's at the start, he's like, I want the way that he was like presenting porn to Eddie, Mark Wahlberg, was sort of like, shit, this guy is onto something. He wants to do porn, but like on a level where
a bit like art, like it's
it's a massive project. And when
you're at the end,
when he was sort of saying like, I want them to, after they ejaculate, they still stay for the story, not just I feel like that sort of.
That's how, if you're like in an industry, that's how you should be thinking about your product and delivering it to people. You should think about the whole experience that they're going through mentally and how they're actually spending their time with your product. It's real clever thinking.
It sort of like made me think, as I watched it, I saw, and they came up with that new way of doing porn, where this guy's like a James Bond character and stuff like that.
And the whole story.
Yeah, series. It's so used nowadays. It's like, it's super used everywhere. Like,
well, it's the idea, isn't it? The whole franchise. You need a character, and once you have that character, they build a world. They Marvel porn. They take the Marvel DC comic book idea of a character that has a series and a saga,
and they put it into porn.
Applying it to porn.
And I know it's like a touchy subject, talking about porn, when it comes to like everyone's like, porn this, porn that. I'm like,
porn is pretty like well established within. Everyone knows about porn, and there's even, I go, not right now, but I go to my parents' house and
watch porn with them.
Just sit around and watch it. It's become that normal. No, I watch programs with them that are on like the BBC and stuff like that, and you hear terms being thrown around that that the rise of internet porn has contributed to that word being in the script. It'll be like some Friday night dinner comedy show, and a term like, I don't want to turn this into a full X-rated podcast, but a term like bukkake or something like that will be thrown around, and you're like, like these words are like making their way like up to my parents' level of existence.
But is it good though? Like, what's the word that is used for?
Anything, Martin, in the sense that if I sat in this room and I ate lettuce and I did nothing but ate lettuce all day, it would become a problem over time. So just have a level head with anything you do. Don't do it loads. and take a look at yourself, and if it looks silly, it probably is silly. You know, you probably shouldn't be doing that thing that you're doing all the time, loads.
What? So saying words loads. You shouldn't say the same words.
Now look at yourself. You're being silly.
What?
We have to say certain words a lot. So you can nothing we can do about that until we develop a better vernacular for conversating with one another. But let's talk about the things we can change, like people that want to watch porn all day. Because that is a changeable thing, definitely.
Of course, yeah, of course. But like,
there's people that want to do all sorts of weird things all day.
To an addict of porn, I guess, because that's what we're talking about. Hearing them words could be triggers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get that we have to say words, and there's certain words that we have to like as we're talking right now, we have to say these words to make sense, right? But like taking a word or terminology from porn and putting it into a normal day-to-day living, do you think that's a good idea? Is it like
within context? If we're talking like me and you are having a conversation about porn, none of us are watching porn. We're not forcing anybody to watch porn. We're merely acknowledging that porn exists. No one should listen to these words. We're not telling anyone to do anything. If people go and do things because we said it, that's out of my control. That is
of course.
My control. So if someone, you know, if we're talking about rehabilitating people that want to watch porn all day, I suggest you get a pin, and every single time you want to watch pornography, you stab yourself with the pin. Do that for 2 weeks. Eventually, your brain will start associating porn with the feeling of you stabbing yourself in the thumb with the pin, and I promise you won't watch porn anymore.
Fair enough. That's
people won't do that because they. There's a whole load of reasons why people won't do that.
No, yeah, of course. But like, that's your brain is associating porn with pain, right? So then obviously it'll stop itself. But do you think there's other things out there in the world that other than watching porn that you can be addicted to?
But doesn't that sound like a good idea for anyone that's addicted to anything, to lock them in a room with a pin with the thing that they're addicted to? And you just have to look dead in the eye and say, do you want to stop doing this thing? And if they say no, then you've got to release them back into the world. But if they say yes, then they come into the room and they sign a bit of paper that says they're not going to leave the room until a certain amount of time is up. And they have to swear on their life that every time they want the thing, they're going to stab themselves. And they'll get fed and watered and bed and nice place to sleep and all of that.
I think that could go horribly wrong.
What, you think they're going to...
Horribly.
You think they're going to kill themselves?
Yeah.
Well, that seems a bit silly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it could go horribly wrong.
Don't think about what I said.
I know. Like, if it ever did come about, that would be like you giving them a weapon and told them you're not allowed to do the thing you like doing the most. Every time you do it, you have to stab yourself.
Well, this is why they've got to agree beforehand that they actually want to stop doing it.
I know. But then it's sort of like, if they're not safe enough, it would have to almost be a person has to be with them every step of the way.
Well, there would be constant monitoring, and that would be like the nature of the facility. Like, it would be set up to do, I don't know, in this weird hypothetical reality that I've constructed where I'm locking people up with pins, stuff like that. It's not a sustainable world, I understand.
It's not. Well, anyway, we're going a bit off topic, but still.
But it does pertain, because this film is one of excess and addiction and whatnot. And the last half of the film is like, as sad as the first bit is kind of happy. You see these people that are like really invested in the industry and like they're trying to push it forward and stuff like that. And then the 1980s come rolling around, and I guess the big killer is that all these films that are being made are all going to
video.
tape. Yeah, they're all being made on tape. so they can be shown in like movie theaters, or you buy them on VHS and stuff like that. But as the 1980s pop up, home video becomes a thing, and that opens up
new possibilities.
It opens up the world of amateur porn, which is now a world. And
but you sort of like, it sort of seems like Jack is like, when something works, you keep doing it, and it's always worked for him.
Definitely an old dude. That's like a classic trope that you see in a lot of these films, where like, I'm trying to think of an example where there's like an old guard and a group of people that establish a thing, and they're like, this is the way you do it. And then the younger people come and they find a new way to do it that's like based on the old way, but it's taken the bad bits and like worked out new bits. And then all the old guys are like angry at the younger people. You know what I mean?
Because it's sort of like, you know, when, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like, you know, when your parents tell you to do something, but like you do it in your own way, and it makes more sense doing it that way, and it's easier. But they're like, no, do it my way.
And it comes
from the way I taught you.
Yeah, and it comes from a lot of different things. It comes from the fact that Jack knew that this new thing was coming in that he wasn't familiar with. But instead of familiarizing himself with the new thing, he decided to sit on the thing that he knew. Yeah. And had established, which is always like you got to move with the times, but then not completely compromise who you are for that new thing.
Yeah, of course.
You got to work out how you're going to use that new thing in your way.
But that sort of backfired on him, not because his fault, more because of the Colonel being arrested and put into prison.
And then there is a period of time where he's fairly like, he's kind of just filming films with no passion. He is like, he's sort of missing his like star. Do you know what I mean? Like his twinkle or whatever. Like his the twinkle in his eye. That's all gone. Oh god, that montage is awful. Where it's like three or four narratives happening all at the same time. You've got Buck and his wife who are trying to start their hi-fi store, and they're going to banks trying to get loans, and they're being Buck's like another co-member. We've not mentioned Buck yet. Played by who's he played by? It's that guy that's in bloody Hotel Rwanda, Don Cheadle.
Yeah, he's in Marvel as well.
Is he? Yeah, he's in loads. Yeah. But him and his wife can't get a loan because they're porn actors, and he's so passionate about his like plight and what he wants to do, and he's like, you can see the fear in Don Cheadle's eyes when he realizes that he's being like blackballed because he's a porn actor, and he's like, probably because he's black as well. Yeah. Those times. It's sort of like mixes together. Do you know what I mean? Like it's sort of trying to tell you, oh yeah, it's because you're a porn actor, but it could also be because you're black. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you ain't getting that money either way. And obviously they're saying no, but they're always telling him, oh, he's a porn actor. I'm like, it's the 70s. I feel like that time racism wasn't like. I feel like it certainly would not have helped his situation. No, not at all. He had it on his heart. So at the same time, you've got those scenes being played. You've got shots of like Jack's new films that he's filming and editing, and they're like all like the vibe of them and the way that his new Dirk Diggler character is acting, the rip-off of Dirk Diggler that he's got in, it's just sad to watch. And then you've got these crazy clips of Mark Wahlberg and John C. Reilly trying to write an 80s rock album. I love that montage. And they're like trying to write these songs, and they're awful. I swear, he's sort of like trying to make it as a singer instead of a. No, he is. He's trying to show that he's more than just that thing that everyone knows in. Yeah, he's just he's not just a penis. He's more than that. He's got like, heart. This big identity crisis. But he had the heart all along. His heart was in the porn. At the beginning, he like that. That's like even though we're laughing at this, the film's so serious about everything it's like been said. Like it's not even like that. You know how there's
puns and there's like jokes that you could like throw in. There's nothing in there that
that's
massively they throw in.
You say that you said to me, I think yesterday we spoke about it briefly, that there were no moments that made you like laugh out loud. But I think it's one of those films that you don't laugh at it until it's done.
You think about it, yeah. So you think about what?
Hang on, what did I just watch?
Yeah, like what's happening? Like what's happening right now?
Why was I so interested in that? Like, this film is porn industry.
The thing that gets me the most is like he's okay. Maybe he's not sort of thinking that way because of what his parents, like, well, what his mum said. He's like, "Oh, you're dumb, you're stupid, and all this shit," and like kicked him out or whatever. But if that was,
I'll just quickly point out. You just reminded me at the beginning. There's a scene where I've mentioned it. They're having breakfast, and his dad walks downstairs and kisses his mum on the cheek, and she's like. And this is a theme that's inherent in these like families that are set up where the father has to go out and work and the mum stays at home all day. This resentment builds between them, and it's not a real marriage. And he kisses her, and she's like, just obviously not in the mood to be kissed. And she's like, I wish you'd shave when you do that. She's like, if you're going to do that, shave.
But he didn't have anything. Like he barely had a stubble.
Yeah, and then when she's kicking him out a little bit later, you see like him like in tears about it, and you see how like the woman has become the man of the situation, and the man is the woman, and he comes from this backwards family, and it's very indicative. It's such a relatable tale. This guy coming from this broken household, and he becomes this big star, and that's just how that narrative manifested in the 1970s. You know, the porn thing was just available to him, sort of thing.
Yeah. When that scene was so like happening, I was thinking, okay, he's gonna become big, he's gonna be massive, and then he's gonna go back and he's gonna be like, fuck you, I'm the biggest star ever in porn.
He never goes back, does he?
He never goes back. It's never you never see like them two characters again. I sort of like wanted that sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Closure. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's a kind of theme with that. We've not even mentioned Heather Graham's character, Roller Girl, who is like Jack's right-hand girl. Jack is almost a pimp. Like he's
almost.
He's got all these women around him, and one of them's Roller Girl. And there's a bit in that montage we were just talking about where they're doing coke. I think is that Jack's wife, the one with the ginger hair.
No, it's not. It's just a girl he has.
It's just a girl. Well, they act very close.
Yeah,
that Heather Graham's character kind of breaks down because she's never had a mother, and she's like, "Call me mum," and they're doing cocaine together, and it's very intense and. Fucking rock and roll music's playing, and she's like, "Call me mum." No, say you're my mum. You're my mum. And she has this like breakdown because obviously no one's ever called her mum. So it's all like this group of rich kids.
Oh, it's so weird. It's like the thing is she does have a kid. This is why probably she's breaking down because she's like she misses her kid. And she wants to see her kid, and she was married.
The older, yeah. She's going through that whole court thing with the kid.
Yeah, and she's like, she's trying to make Dirk fucking her kid as well, and just trying to like feel loved instead of just being seen as a whore for doing
and all
what she does.
People are looking for love as well, like Dirk. He. Didn't get that love from his mum, so he goes looking for that with women. All these people are acting off pain, basically, that has been caused to them earlier in life, and it's the way they act now is like a response to that pain.
But there's also like scenes where that guy who does the editing or the filming for Jack.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill. That's it, Bill.
Bill's one of my favorite characters. Bill has a hard time, bless him.
I just don't think he does. I don't feel sorry for him because he.
Well, you think Bill should have stood
happened.
Up for himself?
Yeah, he stood. If he.
What did you say?
What?
Like, okay, those of you that don't want to watch this film, I'm just going to break this Bill character down for you. Bill is a cameraman and an editor that is just a bit of a pushover. And the first example of him being a pushover we see is him hearing a commotion outside, and he goes and checks what's going on, and his wife is having sex with the man.
That's not the first time.
Is that not the first? Oh, no.
No.
The first time.
Yeah, the first time is in his house. He just walks in after coming back from work, just hears his
and she's
woman.
Like, very matter of fact, she's like, "Can you leave? I'm busy."
Yeah. But he's such a like pushover. Like he's not. I don't know how he felt. Like I don't know how he was as a kid. I don't know how he was as a person. You just see the first hour of the film being this Bill character, but he's sort of like just lets it happen over and over and over again. Like that was making you angry,
obviously, say he's a pushover.
Yeah, like if it was.
Think about what happens.
I know exactly what happens. All right, I'm just saying he's let it happen beforehand. Just because he's
Martin, is if Bill had emotionally handled each situation as that occurred, it wouldn't have ended up how it ended up.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have handled it the first time
as it happened,
then it wouldn't have happened again. Do you know what I mean? Like if he would have been like, "That's it, we're done."
Yeah, they should have just split up. That's what.
That's it. That's what I meant. Like we should have. Look, we're done. I found you another man. He works in the porn industry, so there's no shortage of women.
Well,
right?
Bill,
I know
as an individual,
mm-hmm.
number one, that was deeply important to Jack's initial operation, and a lot of that initial magic that was between Eddie Adams, Jack Horner, and that group. Bill, I feel, was a big part of that.
He was. As soon as that.
To all the emotions of the member of the group. You see him going round and like being friendly with each member and stuff like that. And it was just kind of accepted by the group that Bill gets shat on, basically, by his wife.
But then I thought it was going to be like, okay, fine, killed the two. Jack can cover that up. The same with the fucking girl that died from cocaine overdose or whatever. But then him end it all, and you're like, oh shit, like he's been in this film. Obviously, when you watch a film, you get deep into the characters that are in, even if they're pushovers like Bill. He was there for a good hour or so. To him just ended there, I'm like, holy fuck. And then not be explained, oh, there was a funeral, this happened, blah, 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 whatever. Do you know what I mean?
You fill those gaps in. Obviously, Bill's body was not just left in that room. I can fill those gaps.
No, I get them that bit, but you would at least see for somebody
it's meant to be that blunt. That is the point. Bill's death is a symbol of the film is now shifting from this comfortable thing that is established in it's a great narrative thing of being like the first hour of the film. Oh, here's normality. This is the gang, and this is what they normally get up to. And then there's a thing that happens that flips all that on its head. And then the last bit of the film is getting back to that normality. Yeah.
It was funny how it transitioned from the 70s to the 80s, and that was the last scene that happened. Because obviously, 80s started with a bang, literally.
Well, yeah, so we kind of get around to...
that's the last scene. It was the count.
Well,
they're counting down. So, they're counting down. There, it goes to 2, 1, shoots himself.
So at 100. Oh yeah, it's a New Year's party, of course. Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what I just said. It was then. It is indicative. Bill's death is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, okay. But I saw I know that obviously it's just fucking shit. After that happened, shit just goes downhill from here till they get back at the end to sort of normality. But it's sort of like, I just have them two scenes thinking, or the when they don't sort of close the door with the parents, and then this Bill character. It's sort of like, that's the only things that like threw me off about the film. After that, I was sort of like,
with the parents, I just see it as like, how do you go back? He kind of like gave all that up, sort of thing. Like, there's no need. There was nothing to reconcile. Maybe with his dad, maybe it's regrettable. To be fair, maybe there's deleted scenes and stuff that like cover all this up. The film was 2.5 hours as it was. You know what I mean?
I know. I was like, it was a lot. It didn't seem, as I was watching it, it didn't seem like it was 2.5. Like, it kept me in enough.
I mean, it feels very well paced. The way it's edited, it's very like a whole journey. You're there every step of the way, and it's really good because you're like, why am I this interested? It's on paper, it should not be interesting. 2.5 hour long film, the golden age of pornography. Like that's a tough sell to some people, but I recommend anyone to go watch it because of how much it gets me involved in it and how invested I become in it. And
it's an interesting watch.
That
to say the least.
That we were just talking about, where you kind of see it all going downhill, climaxes. Well, it's got a couple of climaxes. I'd say it climaxes with Dirk eventually becoming like a prostitute.
For $20, like,
well,
if you're
in that montage, along with them trying to make a rock album, which they actually get taken off them, the master tapes are held by the company because it's not good. There's also shots of them.
No, because they have no money.
Yeah. Oh no. There's a bit where they're trying to get the tapes, and they say, basically, they're like, "Have you heard this stuff? Have you heard how good it is?" And that's the moment when the guy from the record company looks at him and he's like, "Oh, I get it now. Understand this. It's not going to happen." And that's the look, a record executive that says, "You are shit, and we do not."
We don't need it.
Yeah, but they then turn it into a fight. But to cut with all those scenes is also scenes of them at their house. We've not even spoke about Philip Seymour Hoffman yet, the late and great, who's in this film. He plays like the shy, almost nearly gay member of the who loves Mark Wahlberg's character. Yeah. Gets the same car as him, just really respects him. But his character's also a great barometer. He's like Dirk's biggest fan.
I've seen him in other stuff before, and when I first saw it, him come into the film, and I was like, shit. It's weird seeing him in this sort of like character that's not what I normally seen him in. Do you know what I mean?
Overconfident in his roles. Most I've seen, like Along Came Polly. I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think
so. But he's really good in that. But he plays this like really over the top sort of character, and he could do many different things. He's dead now. Killed himself.
When?
Let me get the details on this. And I might even be wrong about what I just said. It might have been a drug overdose.
Damn.
Mixed drug intoxication, 2nd of February 2014.
6 years ago. Damn. Didn't know that.
That real sad stuff because he had like large emotional range.
Definitely. He definitely had some good acting skills.
Heroin, cocaine, benzos, and amphetamines. That's a hell of a mix.
He's trying to relive the 70s, bro.
Nice country. But I brought him up. His character is a basic barometer for where Dirk's morals are. Because he's such a big fan of Dirk, you see shots of Philip Seymour Hoffman's character watching Mark Wahlberg, Dirk Diggler, doing these horrible things, and you can see the god that he thought Dirk Diggler was being deconstructed. So you know what I mean? Like, which is makes that character quite important because it gives the character a reference for how we should be feeling about Dirk, basically.
There's so many. it's so strange because like usually when you watch a film, you sort of have like a set of characters that are, well, one or two characters that are like main characters. You see them in virtually every scene, and you know that their story, the ends of their story is how the film will end.
Yeah.
And then there's like side characters and shit like that. In this one, there's so many main characters. Like,
it's kind of, yeah, that kind of touches on something I said earlier, where it's like this film just feels like that those events were happening and a camera just happens to be there.
That's it. Yeah, it's like there's so many characters that are just supposed to be always like be there, and anything that happens is because it's almost because them characters are in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah. I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do 100%, and that's why I think it feels so cohesive, and that's why it's interesting to watch, because it literally feels like every character is a main character, and they've got this whole life going on.
Probably what you're trying to like, it pulls you in, and you're like, oh, I need to watch the rest. Like, what's next? Who's coming next? You know what I mean? Especially when that guy, what's his name? I can't even remember his name. He meets Dirk Diggler for the first time at this party where, there's always a party at Jack's house, as long as you're having a good time. And it's that character that, Dirk has that friend in the films that he's always like he's sort of his sidekick.
Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Yeah, the guy that is friends with him that comes from the other strip club, where they like
the one who ends up being the main like drug dealer.
Yeah, who's constantly like, that character is so. When I saw that scene where he just fucking shoots that black guy, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's when you know you got a problem.
That dude. He's like the archetypal cocaine user that I'm terrified of. Like,
that's when you've got a problem.
And so we're there now at this last scene that we've not spoke about yet, which is absolutely insane. It's one of my favorite scenes in cinema, mine. I think the tension in it is like incredible.
It's so. I literally didn't know where it was gonna go. It could have gone anywhere. It could have gone anywhere.
Point where they're not prostitutes, they're not trying to be rock and roll stars anymore, they're not even trying to be porn actors anymore. They're simply just doing drug deals and doing like criminal activities. They plan like a sting where they're gonna like do this thing where they go to a drug dealer's house and give him fake drugs and try and get money.
Try to get money. Yeah, to get money. $5,000
of it. And that guy who you were just talking about, John C. Reilly character's friend, he brings a gun, and there was no talk about bringing like, as the situation starts happening, you can see it like ramping up, and it's got all the makings of a terrible situation. And they go to this guy's house, and he's just like the classic Tony Montana cocaine dealer, really like unhinged and like gypsy in the way that but then seemingly going through moments of like really being into the song that's on in the background. So like when he's like talking to you, he's like, "What do you want then? What's going on?" And he's all intense. But then when he's not talking to you, he's like
chilling. Yeah. But you knew from the beginning that guy was fucking crazy. And then
the eyes.
The scene that got me, I was like, where I would have instantly left that house, was if I saw this guy pull a gun out, put a bullet in it, and shoot his brain. Like, if it didn't hit the brain, I would be instantly like, yeah, man, I'm out. Like, that's some crazy shit. Why the fuck?
In that house, to be perfectly honest with you, I think just there's a Chinese man in the corner of the room lighting firecrackers and just throwing them at random intervals, and that is what gives the scene its tension, because you don't know when these things are going to go off. So like there's tense situations happening anyway between the drug deal. But it's not even every 5 seconds. That's the whole point. You can't time it. You don't know when they're going to...
You can't time it, no.
Explosions keep happening. It's a horrible environment.
It was like being like that is fun with me. Like I could, like if I'm talking to someone and I'm having a conversation, cool. If somebody pulls a fucking gun out and tries to blow their brains out, but it doesn't happen, I'm like, you're fucking crazy. You could blow my brains out at any given point.
If you walked all the way into that house and looked at everything that was going on, and you've only walked out when he pulled the gun out, I think you've been there way too long. I think I could like look at that situation and assume a gun was going to be pulled and not step into the house.
Well, we saw 2 guns already before you even saw the third one. Do you know what I mean? Like, saw the black guy having a gun and then your friend having a gun. What gets me is they're there to sell drugs, and they get the money, and they still stay there after that. Like, if it was they're fake. So if you don't get out of there as soon as possible before he tests out these drugs, you're dead. 2, you literally told the guy, I'm gonna rob you before you pull the gun out. If you're gonna rob someone, you take the gun out first, then you threaten them. You don't threaten them as you're talking to them.
I think these situations scare me so much because logic disappeared. Like, all reason and logic is not present in the room. I don't know what they're operating on. I don't know what frequency they're tuned into, but it's not like one of logic.
He's too high, and he's only thinking of the end goal to think, well, I'm in the middle right now. Maybe I should just take it one step at a time. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, this is all a film. This is all like acted. It's not
but it's
real.
But these
obviously they show amazing
because that has happened. Like, not that exact situation with those people, but it is depicting a scene that 100% has gone down.
100%.
Like, skitsy people buying drugs. Neither of them are planning to be legit about, the person that's buying the drugs and the person that's selling the drugs are probably fake and laced with something, and the money that's being given is probably fake. You know what I mean? Like, there's no honesty and rationality, and there's people still to this day running around with that sort of like attitude.
Mentality. It's scary to think, but you at least it's sort of like prepare. Like, if you're watching this film and you were in a situation where if you've watched this film and you sort of got yourself in that sort of situation, you could sort of think, well, you can make yourself remember what happened in that scene and maybe other films, and you just sort of like take it into consideration what could happen. And you need to like be there and be out as quick as you get in. Do you know what I mean?
Even I don't plan to ever be anywhere near a situation like that, but you can take things from this film. Like, there's a lot of colonels out there. There's a lot of Jacks out there. There's a lot of Dirks out there. They are like archetypes of like people that exist. Hot-headed young up-and-comers within a field. It's the same mentality as like a young footballer that's on the rise. They're a Dirk Diggler. They're just doing it in football, like sort of thing. An up-and-coming musician, who's like had a run of hit singles. That they're a Dirk Diggler. So for me, it just gives me a load of archetypes that exist in any industry where some people are there just to make money, but then other people are there because they really care about like the product and the heart and soul of it all. That is why any situation like that is going to create some really good things and some really terrible things, basically, because it's going to get really extreme because people like what you're doing, and you're going to be pressured to do that thing that you're doing more and more, and you're going to really start thinking about the best way to do it. But in that, you're surrounded by people that are telling you all sorts of things, and some of those people are there just for money, and some of those people are there because they care about the product and the artist or the sportsman or whatever. And that whole narrative is pretty important in our times, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, usually when we watch, well, when you not make me, but tell me to watch a certain film that may not be normal, I usually have like a million questions in my head about different scenes that happen, and like, why is this character doing that? That's a weird thing to do. Why did he put that in there? Like, especially Holy Mountain. That's still in my head is the weirdest film I've ever seen.
Oh, we're gonna have to trump that at some point.
Yeah, you will have to. I got some
films in mind. Don't tempt me, Martin. But
yeah. But when it came to this one, it was so normal in the way of the film that it was trying, like, what it was trying to portray. It was so normal that it sort of made sense. Everything that I watched made sense to a point where I had a few questions where something to me didn't make sense. I'm like, okay, maybe that doesn't make sense.
I think
just only because I didn't think about it like thoroughly. That's obviously why I talk to you and we do this podcast and stuff, because I want you to tell me, but it didn't have a lot of it in it that I'll be like, oh well, yeah. I sort of get everything that's happened except for a few bits. You know what I mean?
Think, whereas maybe other films we've watched, you can take things away for your own personal development, like The Truman Show or An Eraserhead or An Evangelion. You can like watch those films and change the way that you look at the world. Whereas Boogie Nights is a film that changes the way I act.
Yeah.
It makes me aware of situations that I could run into when you're in a high energy environment with a lot of people that are all trying to do something.
The same thing.
Yeah, and I think that's useful. Certainly looking forward into the future,
Of course, there were like the whole film. I will think about it a lot when I'm in a group situation now, because like, although like you saw loads of people, like you said, talking, but like it's not really what they were meaning. There was a lot of like chatter there, like groups of situations where they're like just talk about business, but like at the same time you're also friendly with the person that you're talking with.
It's very interesting. It's that as well. The fine line between pleasure and business. How they're like direct polar opposites of one another. Well, they shouldn't be, but they are in the way that they have existed in previous years, and that again creates these real sharp juxtaposed situations where these people that claim to all be a big unit and a family create this thing that everyone loves, but then it splits apart and it becomes fractured. It creates like real good You need real good management in large groups of people like that. That are always like a band, or it's like a group of artists, or it's like a group of anything that all get together for one purpose. That's why the army function like they function very militantly, because they know, number one, how effective humans can be when they're all aimed towards a common goal, and number two, how unorganized they can be when they're not all ordered towards a common goal. So
yeah. But they can. It could be it could be a plus or a minus when it comes to this where we are right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I so take the film now and seeing this one compared to the other ones makes it sound like more. I take a situation more calmly. because like
it's not.
This was like a whole load of like drugs put into it, like loads of people fucking on drugs and shit. Like you don't know who could be that person with the gun. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't know who could like at any point click and be like, do you know what? I'm taking you out or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
What I get from it is the need to be emotionally aware of what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
Not like you can see actions and stuff like that, but it's like gauging the vibe and making sure that what you're a part of is sustainable morally and financially. I think when morals become the topic of a conversation, there's a certain sector of people that are like, oh, well, they're not talking about business now. You want a situation to be financially and morally sustainable, so it makes you money, but everyone stays amicable and the quality of the product isn't compromised. That's incredibly difficult. That's like really difficult to do, and that is what this film is. It's like they get back to it at the end, and they get to a place where Dirk Diggler feels like he's the Dirk he always was, and he's ready to go, sort of thing. But nothing. It shows he didn't need to do all that shit, or did he?
No.
That's the crazy thing.
You don't know.
To get back to where he needed to be. I find it quite interesting because if he did need to do all that stuff just to reaffirm himself, you better get on with it real quick, like sort of thing. If you've had that, it's just an angle that I find interesting with people that some people feel the need to do like a lot of something, be it alcohol or cocaine or something like that, or smoke cigarettes. And I think your body's only getting less good at coping with those things as you get older. Fucking hurry up and just do that stuff you want to do. Get it all out your system. Like, go run at it. Like, really dive deep into it. Don't kill yourself. But you
try not to. Come on.
All you're going to do is, like, bury that down, and it's going to, like, come back to the surface, and then something's going to happen where you nearly have a breakdown, and you push it back down, and then you die, and you never really worked it out, did you? So...
But some people... The thing about some people, they just... I feel like there needs to be a time. I know that a lot of young people, like I'm probably saying a good 90% of young people nowadays are normally, they start off with like at 18 and they want to go fucking crazy. They've just turned 18 and can fucking drink and go out, whatever. So they want to do all this shit fucking right straight away. Some of them do it too much and die by accident. But at the same time, there's that 10% or 5% of young people that are like only driven by business. That is it. But that's sort of the same. There's no middle ground. Do you know what I mean? Like there should be like a place where you could be a bit crazy for a year or two, and then sort of move
like
to
university and the gap year and all of this stuff that people that are our age tend to do around here. And there's kind of like the implication that they're all running from what's known as the real world. And it's like, I'll do anything I can to stay out of that dreaded real world for as long as possible. I'll go pick fruit or some shit like that. Which is fine, and if that's what you want to do. But I think you can do it from home for a lot less money if you just apply you stop letting all the things that affect you at home actually bother you. Because you realise how much those things mean to you, like the immediate family and friends and the impressions they have of you. They construct what you think of yourself, really. If you really peel it back and you really sit down, you realise that like your version of who you are to yourself. Well, it's not for everyone. Some people are really like defined in who they are and they don't have this problem. But I found myself in a position where the version of myself was given to me by what other people thought of me, and I didn't really have like a version of myself that I knew. Like, I didn't know what I believed in, and I didn't know what my ideologies and moral. Just something I hadn't thought about. You just act like other people act, sort of thing. But it might take failing in the porn industry and going through the want to be a rock and roll star and then a whole cocaine addiction to realize that you had that inside you all along, because Boogie Nights ends very much. There's this moment before Dirk Diggler does his first scene where he kind of talks to himself in the mirror and gives himself a bit of a pep talk. And again, it could be anyone. It could be a musician about to go on stage. It could be a cook about to go onto a cooking. You know what I mean? It could be any star.
It could be anything.
And the film ends with a similar speech, which implies that it was inside of him all along, and it's self-empowerment that is really the fire that will start the furnace for a real high-productive person.
It's sort of like, now that I think about it, the film his character starts with the speech and ends with the speech.
Yeah, the whole idea of Dirk and all of that. And I think that's a real nice kind of... It poses loads of questions. It leaves you with questions. Did he need to do, as we said, all of the things that he did? Is it just a question of self-empowerment and he shouldn't have listened to all the doubters around him? He let his mother's impression direct who he was. He let Jack's impression direct who he was. But it wasn't until he kind of really established who Dirk was, or he kind of gives up the name Eddie, and he kind of is Dirk from the moment he comes up with Dirk. And that, again, is representative of, like, ditching everything that Eddie was. He could do that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because he moved away from everyone he knew. Very difficult for you now, Martin, to completely change who you were. Everyone around you knows who you are.
Yeah, it's a massive change, but I feel like because he sort of didn't have anything going for him at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's why he sort of jumped at that sort of.
No, he knew it. I guess it's okay to be in those situations. You just got to know it. So then, when your opportunity to get out of those situations arises, you don't miss it.
No, yeah, you just you take that opportunity no matter how it comes. But like, it's so sad to see that you don't see him see like many friends, but he does take a bus ride to this massive where he works at, this nightclub.
Oh yeah.
And there's plenty of nightclubs where he lives compared to where he's at. So you already from the beginning see he just wants to get away from her. He doesn't want to be anywhere there.
He had a respect for the way that place was run.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things that I hear a lot of successful people say. Like, he knew where he needed to be. You know what I mean? He thought that place was cool. He knew something cool was happening there. He just felt the vibe, and he was present. He made sure that he was in that place. Mm-hmm. And if you're somewhere, it's not like everyone's going to ignore you. Like, you're probably going to get spoken to and something, and the opportunities will open up. It's about knowing what you want to do, and then having the confidence.
It's always about what you want to do. It's always. That's a big struggle with a lot of people. Everyone's like, what do you want to do? I don't know.
And I think that's the key, because I think once a human really finds out what they want to do and sets their head to it, I don't think there's anything that can really... It's going to happen as long as it has reasonable means of happening. Like, if you want cheese to rain from the sky, well, the day may never come. I'm sorry to hear about that. But if you want to build a real nice table, there's all the means of that happening. Like, you could table building.
Don't doubt that.
Rain from the sky.
Like,
I'm saying,
if what you're saying is, if what you're saying is true, then you could make cheese rain from the sky.
That
Do you know what I mean?
A conversation for another film. The precedent. But my point is that it's probably best that might happen. Cheese might rain from the sky, but it's probably best not to think about that, because I have no means of making it happen. Whereas I can, like,
right now,
turn this light off. I can do that, like, right here, and like, you know what I mean.
Very easy.
There's a lot of stuff that I can do that's immediately at your fingertips for yourself. And don't know, for a film that's about the golden age of pornography and the decline of the format, it has a hell of a lot of inspiration in it, and a lot of admirable attitudes, and it showcases a lot of the pitfalls that one can fall into throwing themselves into something in a real honest way when there's people that aren't being honest around you.
Yeah. This is why
a lot more relatable than the films we normally watch.
This is why I said this is like help, sort of like as soon as I watched this, helped me to look at group situations in a different way. Because before this film, do you know how I am when I come into a group situation where I'm like, talk to everyone.
Well, you're what I like to call the social grenade, Martin. Like,
that's right.
And throw you in, and you're going to be a hit.
That's it. But it's sort of like I need to also be like chilled about it, because not everyone that's talking to me is being truthful. Do you know what I mean? Like, not everyone that's
that's
you being nice to or being nice to you is actually being nice.
You're going to get the same thing back. That's what and it's not it's actually my fault. If you go in that hot-headed, if you go in with that level of energy, you're kind of asking everyone else to be up there with you, sort of thing. And that's a big ask for some people. Like, some people just aren't there, or don't want to be, or whatever. So your way of being definitely has its perks, and it's endearing to people because you act the same around everyone. So at least you know that you're not getting kind of screwed. At least you know you're being honest, sort of thing.
Being honest to myself too, when I say like it's.
But that's admirable, and that's fine. It's all it's fine tuning that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, it's like I've got to still be myself, of course. Like there's no doubt about that. But it changes how I've sort of view the people that I'm talking to. Like I could sort of like before this, I could go into a situation where there'd be a massive group of people and I'd talk to every single person, but then I wouldn't notice their sort of like body language. I would just constantly be myself because I don't want that person to think, huh?
Or like you're so in it and doing your thing.
Yeah, that's it. I'm doing my thing, that I don't notice their thing is like contradicting how I am, but I'm not noticing it. You know what I mean? Like somebody could be like sending digs my way, but I'm just like, oh yeah, they're just being funny or whatever.
Yeah,
and
at the end of the day, fucking body language.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So that is what I'd say is the purpose of that film for me. And I just love it. I love it has no business making me as interested as I am in it.
No, but it does. It's a very, I wouldn't say emotional, but like it has a lot of feeling.
Yeah, made me want to go bed after I watched it. I felt like I've been there like the whole way, like been on a real long journey, sort of thing. But
it's got feeling, man.
It's got feeling, definitely. And I think we'll watch this guy, Paul Thomas Anderson. He's made quite a few films. The next one he made, we'll probably watch at some point, called Magnolia. It's got Tom Cruise, John C. Reilly again, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It might not have John C. Reilly, actually. I may have.
Fucking sounds interesting already.
Yeah, well, that film probably is a bit more in the camp of films that we normally watch.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely, but just more so than Boogie Nights, probably.
Yeah.
And it's a film that I don't even get, Martin. I'd need to watch it again. I'd need to watch it again if we were going to talk about it, because I don't understand.
That's a first.
John C. Reilly is in this film. But yeah, it might be. I watched it a long time ago. And
you might make sense of it now.
Yeah,
more
and I
than
didn't really get it
before.
Sort of thing when I first watched it. But that always excites me. Makes me sad at the time because it's like, oh my God, this film's 188 minutes, so it's a 3-hour film. It's longer than football.
Wow, 3 hours and 20 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Oh wait, 6 minutes.
Yeah, 3 6. And I was like, oh my God, I've just wasted all this, not wasted, but I've just put all this time into this film and I didn't get much from it, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, but that's really exciting the long because it's like, he didn't make that film just to be an idiot. There's a meaning.
Yeah, that's it. There's something behind it. You gotta push through and see what we get.
And then he made a film with Adam Sandler, Martin, and it's like one of the best films Adam Sandler's ever been in. I've not seen Uncut Gems, but it's called Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, so Paul Thomas, what's his name? Paul Thomas what? Edison?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Anderson.
Yeah.
He made Uncut Gems?
No. I was just saying.
Oh, just saying about
one of the best Adam Sandler's been in, but I hear a lot of good stuff about Uncut Gems, which I've not seen. But
it's a good film.
Punch Drunk Love, Adam Sandler plays this like person with anxiety, and he's in like this family of people that just get stuff done, and he has these moments. It's all done in the soundtrack. It's absolutely incredible. Like, okay, he'll be having a conversation with like a member of his family, and then like this little instrument will start in the background, and it will be like a little noise like that, and then it will start layering noises on top of it, and it's like the build-up of anxiety, and the conversation of the person he's talking to will be faded out, and these noises will get louder and louder and louder until he does something because he can't handle being in these social situations, normally where people are like hassling him about the way he is, which doesn't help the whole thing. Like, why are you so quiet all the time, and stuff like that. And it builds up to the point where he'll do something that would be considered a public,
outrage.
Yeah, like smash a window or flip a table.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I've sort of seen a type of film like that where they're like they're talking, it just fades out, and then it's like, and then all of a sudden the music stops. And it's just back to where he was before.
Yeah, and it's really well done with the whole, like, just talking about anxiety and how it is. It really puts across the whole thing really well. And it's Adam Sandler, who's normally like this,
comedian, funny guy.
Adam Sandler, yeah. So it's a really good fit. So possibly in the future, I could talk about every one of his films at length, to be fair, and there's still some of them I've not seen. There's another film, I'm looking at all the films that he's made, and I don't get them, Martin. Like, I've seen them, but I don't understand anything.
It's weird. That's weird to see. Oh, to hear.
There Will Be Blood is renowned as one of the best films ever made, and I've seen it. Number one, I couldn't tell you the character's name. I could tell you, like, the last scene that was memorable, just for what happened in it. And like, I can tell you like the intro scene, but really what happened in the middle was it was a blur. And it's very easy to then blame the film and be like, that's a bad film. But I think his films are just so dense, and there's so much going on, and they're so well constructed that it actually hits my buffer of this information. And that doesn't happen so often. It's a good feeling.
I can't wait. That's 2 films already that we can do a podcast on. So
yeah, we'll definitely be going down some Paul Thomas Anderson films. So yeah, that was an episode with a difference, Martin.
That's it. I mean, like this episode seemed more chilled than our other episodes. I'm usually like, what the fuck is happening? What is this film? Well, and then this was just like, I sort of get the message, and I like it. So
I quite like to throw you curveballs sometimes. Because it's not.
The film wasn't weird, but the suggestion of you suggesting this film to me, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But then I watch it and it's normal. I'm like, is this? It sort of almost made me think again. You know how I always tell you, am I watching the right film every time I turn the film on and there's just a blank screen and just sound? It's sort of like I saw the film and I'm like, did I watch the right film? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it got a slightly different response out of you than we used to seeing.
Yeah.
And I'll try and make sure the next film catches you off guard as this one did.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So it's been sweet. Hit us up. Thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you appreciate it in these trying times, where some of us are not at work, and I've been listening to all sorts of audio books and podcasts and whatnot and films to try and keep myself busy. So if I can contribute to that a little bit of relief for some people that want to hear us chat nonsense about films, then
here we are.
We just hit 350 downloads, and May was like the best month we'd ever had in terms of downloads, so I appreciate that greatly, honestly.
Thank you, guys.
Like, we just want to make this a better experience
keep it up.
for people and whatnot, so please keep that up.
Let us know what you think in the comments. If you've seen the film, if you want to suggest a film, let us know. See what we can look at and see how we can see it.
Speak to us, guys.
Yeah, let us know.
Always a pleasure, Martin. Never a chore.
Same goes for you, mate.
You're a bloody good bloke.
Yeah, I try to be. So are you.
It's not that deep, bro.
It's not that deep, bro.
See you on episode 14.
Peace.